to this happy place, welcome.
Hey guys, it's Tim with my beautiful wife, Adrienne. She's here, but she's refusing to talk again, trying to play these games with awkward silence.
I never know what to say.
You could say hi.
Hi. Hello.
Welcome to the Disneyland. Dreaming of Disney. I almost said Disneyland is awesome, but that is not our name.
We listen way too much to that podcast.
We listen to Disney.
How am I trying to say that? We
Disney
listen
World is awesome.
to that podcast too much.
We listen to Disney World is awesome a lot. But
it's entertaining.
This is the Dreaming of Disney podcast where we talk about Disneyland.
And sometimes Disney World.
And sometimes Disney World.
Because we went there once, we feel like we have things to say.
Yeah. We'll probably go there again. Mm-hmm. Without the kids.
We have plans, yeah.
Without those rugrats.
80 years old.
Maybe I am. Maybe I'm not.
Anyways.
But we went somewhere fun.
I wonder where. We're going to talk about.
We went to Costco this
trip
weekend.
To the Grand Canyon.
Because that's why you're here.
No, we went to Disneyland.
Disneyland.
Resort.
In California.
Well, because we also went to California Adventure. So I'm saying we went to the Disneyland Resort.
Yeah, we did.
Because it includes both parks.
It does.
So yeah, a lot of because we're going to do this little recap.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're going to do another episode on new tips that we have discovered with the way things are going now. Yeah,
because the last time that we went back in May, but that was kind of a low key trip.
Yeah, we didn't get Genie Plus. We only had Georgia. We didn't even care if we barely rode any rides. Mm-hmm. It was really just to be there and to take it slow.
And before that was August of 2021. They had just opened up.
Well, they had opened,
recently.
April. They opened in April.
Yeah, a couple months before. And Genie Plus wasn't a thing yet.
Right. And they also weren't at full capacity yet. Mm-hmm. So, this time they're at full capacity. And
at least they say they're still not at full capacity. But it was pretty busy for being during school.
Yeah. And we used Genie Plus. So going as a family of 6 using Genie Plus. We also stayed at Paradise Pier, which has the new entrance into California Adventure just for Paradise Pier guests. So that was, new. We hadn't stayed at that hotel in a long time.
Hasn't changed a bit.
That's not true.
Tiny changes.
This will be in the tip episode. I'm going to talk about on the tip episode. So, but yeah, so we got, to the hotel and we're just going to go in, for dinner. And I really wanted to catch the nighttime shows because we didn't last year because Georgia was only a few months old and we still weren't comfortable yet, being in a crowd.
I don't think they were doing nighttime shows then.
I think they had just started the fireworks, or maybe they were doing the Mickey.
They were doing the Mickey.
They were doing the
magic.
Yeah, so it's not like a full fireworks show. It's just a light show. And we did watch them in Disney World. We watched the fireworks, but we didn't do Harmonious. But the next week, the Main Street Electrical Parade is leaving. And I don't think I've ever seen it. If I did, I don't remember. But it's the 50th anniversary of that this year. So they brought it back for a little bit. And then also the Forever fireworks are leaving. And it's tied, maybe inching a little above towards my favorite fireworks show because I don't remember the name of the one with Julie Andrews. It was for the 50th. Is so good too. So those two might be tied. But anyways, they're leaving. So I really wanted to catch that. And then obviously we hadn't seen World of Color in, 7
Yeah, it's
8
been
years.
a long time. Really long time.
And will continue to be longer. We'll get into that. But so we were just going to go in for dinner, and we were like, oh, let's catch the parade tonight. It's not as late as the fireworks, and, you know, we'll get something in. So this was like around 4:30 or so. So the lines for security weren't really that long. So I think it was like about like a 17-minute. I timed it on my watch, but I can't remember. I think it was about a 17-minute walk to the gate. And we went through Grand California entrance and through their security. And on the way, we mobile ordered our dinner.
Yeah.
So we'll get into that more.
Where did we go?
We went Pizza Planet.
Pizza Planet. That's right.
We did Pizza
Planet.
Pizza Planet. All right. So we mobile ordered.
One toy. Go ahead.
So we'll talk more about that in the tip episode, but mobile ordering is a big thing now.
It's like the only way.
It's like the only way to get your food.
Or just wait in a really long line.
Yeah. So we mobile ordered on our walk-in. So we got in, and right away on Main Street, we saw Minnie, which is one of the things I wanted to do. I wanted to get Mickey and Minnie. We didn't end up getting a picture with Mickey, but then she had just walked out. So we got in line right away. There was only a few people ahead of us, but Georgia was so tired. She had needed a nap. She was like, gosh, an hour and a half late for a little nap. And she was so tired. First day, she always does bad of any trip, which I don't think is common. You know, maybe they're just trying to adjust. So her reaction was just like blank face. Like she was just like, okay. Like she looked at her and point.
She would point at her.
But she did not have the energy to smile at anything the rest of that night.
Yeah.
Like she was pointing at things, but she is not smiling, poor thing. But yeah, so that was neat. I wish we could have done it when she had more energy later in the trip, but that's okay. So we ate dinner. Always good. Pizza Planet.
Pizza Planet's great.
And then Small World was, I think it was a 5 or 10 minute wait. And
yeah, it's like 5 minutes. We walked right on. It was
so funny because when we were there in May, you and I waited. We had nothing else to do. We had Georgia. And the line was 40 minutes. And I remember being like, I have never waited 40 minutes for Small World, like ever.
Yeah, I don't know what was up with that.
The entire trip, I never saw it go above 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And I have been checking several days prior to our trip. I've been looking at wait times, and it was 5-10 minutes.
I think it was just busier when we went in May.
And yeah, it must have been because Small World was like walk right on pretty much the whole 3 days we were there. So we did that. And then, after that, it was like pretty much time to get a spot for the parade. People line up hours before. And so I got a spot over by Small World. We walked back out to Main Street, but we're in front of the castle, and we saw that Smuggler's Run was only like
it was 15 minutes.
15 minutes?
15. Well, it was like 20 something minutes or like a half hour when we checked the app. And then by the time
we were a good hour away from the parade, hour and a half away from the parade at this point, I think.
So you and Georgia stayed. I took the boys at Smugglers, and by the time we got there, it was 15 minutes.
Yeah, because everyone's lining. A lot of people are lining up for the parade.
So we went on that. That was fun. And then while we were on it, it broke down, like halfway through the ride. Probably not even halfway through the ride. We had just taken off. And like just went to hyperspace, light speed, and then the lights turned on, and they're like, "Oh, major malfunction!" and of course the boys were all upset. They're like bummed. They're like, "Oh no, what's gonna happen?" I've never been on it while it's broken down. But just a cast member came in, and he's like, "Oh, we're gonna get the Falcon, repaired up for you, and why don't you come this way so they can work on it, and we'll go out this way, and we'll get you back in so they can work on it." And so he took us backstage. I was like completely turned around. I don't know where we ended up. We went backstage. We went through an elevator, went up the elevator, went across, and then down. And then we came back into the main cargo hold part of the Falcon. And then they gave us gray, which I'd never, because, they give you a color.
I haven't been on it in a really long time.
You're listen for your, listen for your crew color. And it's usually like blue, orange, green, red. But they gave us gray. It's the first time I ever heard gray. I think they probably saved that color for
front of the line maybe or
we
something.
We waited a while, but I think it's just like, if something happens, they give you gray. So they gave us gray and then they let us go back in and this time it worked all the way through. So, but yeah. And so that took longer than expected.
Yeah.
Because we kind of got rode the ride twice.
Yeah. Because I was waiting for a while thinking it's taking a little while for them. Because it was dark
by the time we came out.
Yeah. When you guys got back, it wasn't too long before the parade was going to start. Did you guys get the Bruno? That we don't talk about Bruno song on Small World? Were you guys there?
We had just walked up to it. Okay.
And so they do that at 8:15. Parade starts at 8:30. Okay. So it took you guys a little while, but, I was expecting to just feed Georgia and have her go to sleep, but she would not go to sleep. She was so overstimulated and she just would not go to sleep. So that was fun.
But you got a pretty good spot though.
I did. I got a good spot. If you're walking towards Small World, I got a spot up to the right there. And so we were up a little higher. We weren't on the road on the park. We were up a little ways. Yeah. And so that was great because, we have kids, short, and people stand in front of them and they can't see things. So that was nice. And we were right up against a fence, or a gate thing. So no one could stand in front of them. So that was good. It's not my favorite parade. I know it's nostalgic for a lot of people.
Very sentimental.
I thought it was kind of boring.
It is.
The new finale float is super cute. It has a bunch of Disney characters as the Disney animator style where they are little kids, and so that's super cute. They have tons of characters. They have Hercules, Pocahontas, Anna and Elsa, Moana,
Mulan,
just a bunch of them. So funny that we always we like the churros, and we're right by a churro cart. So you're I'll go get the churros. I'll text you if they have any different kinds, because as if you listen, I've been wanting to try all the different kinds. They didn't. They just had a regular. I'm that's fine. We never get the boys full churros. There's lots of them.
Nope.
So we make them. They're pretty big. So they share. We get our own. They share.
Well, that's because we are adults.
You are nice, and you decided to surprise them, because they were back with me at this point, all with their own churro. First time ever you've done this.
Yeah, I thought,
he walks back.
He asked me, the cast member was I asked, do you have any, what flavors churros do you have in this cart? And he was oh, we only have the regular churros. I was okay, that's fine. He's how many would you like? I felt like I stood there for 5 minutes trying to figure out how many should I get? Should I get 4 and make, them share? Or should I get 5 and all of us can have our own? And so I was kind of, and then I just said 5. I was I'll just surprise them and they'll be excited. Oh, we get our own churro.
Well, and while you were gone, you had taken Jack and Boston to the bathroom, and Noah was Mom, can I get a full churro? And I was oh, but I don't know. We'll see. I'll talk to Dad about it, but I don't know. And because as we've talked about before, we try to save money where we can. If we can share treats, we're probably going to do it. There's lots of us, and they most likely wouldn't finish them, and, blah, blah, blah. So you get back with 5. You're I got 5 churros. I'm whoa. And Noah's you hand Noah one, and he's all excited. Okay, so backtracking a little more to February when we were in Disney World and finally found a churro cart because it took a while. Mm-hmm. Boston had a major meltdown because we gave him half a churro.
Yeah.
Major meltdown. He wanted a full churro. Like it was like, all right, let's get out of here. We're leaving. He's like melting down, right? So you hand him the full churro, or you go to hand him the full churro. He refuses to take it and says, I don't want a full churro. I only want half.
I'm like, what?
What? Like,
who is this kid?
And then you go to hand one to Jack and he's like, I don't really want a churro.
I was just speechless. I had no words.
Are you kidding me? Like for years,
years.
We go to Disneyland at least twice a year, and every time these kids ask for a full churro, and we always say no. Like always, we have never gotten them all their own churro.
And I thought, I'm gonna be a cool dad tonight. I'm gonna give them all their own churros.
Ooh, cool.
I spent
You're so cool.
$25 on churros that night.
And like.
And
it was just such
a
typical parenting moment, where you're just like, are you kidding? Like, seriously? So then you broke Boston's in half, and then he was happy.
I ate the other half.
And
I had 2.5 churros that night.
No, you didn't. I threw one away.
I took a couple bites of it.
Oh. Then when we were leaving for the parade, we had one still on top of the stroller, and then the next morning I found it on top of the stroller and threw it away.
Poor churro was wasted.
Yeah, that was.
Someone could have had a magical moment that night with
the churro.
I'm
sure
Disney
they were.
Churro.
I'm sure everyone did. I don't think anyone. They're like, sorry, this one
stale
person
churro.
You didn't get a churro because this one family got one too many. But anyways, so we watched the parade. It was, it was fine. It was like,
it's fun. It's cute.
It's fun,
Seeing it one time is good. And then after that,
and then we were like, all right, we weren't going to stay for the fireworks or anything. I had gotten Georgia to sleep at that point.
Did we just head back?
Yes. It was such a long walk because I was nursing her.
That's
standing up, nursing her. She fell asleep. And then I walked all the way back to the hotel like that.
Yeah, that's right.
So when we got back, my body was exhausted.
Mm-hmm.
That's like, it was like a 20-minute or more than a 20-minute walk. Like, I was so stinking tired. Because it took a while, then they're directing traffic through the park. You can't just go whatever way you want because the parade is going through. Then pretty much right after the parade gets to the end of Main Street, the fireworks start like right after that. So, then you have to go through Tomorrowland, and then you have to go to this side of Main Street, and everyone is crowded on Main Street, and it's hectic getting out. Like, it's hard to avoid leaving the park at that time. Because even if you leave right after the fireworks, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
It's not quite as bad because people aren't just standing still, but like,
it's the worst time.
You just have to
but you have to leave at that time.
We needed to leave, and it was just like, all right, you just got to do it. So we went back.
That's only the first.
That's only a couple hours. That's only a couple hours.
Yeah.
So Monday, that was just half a day. Not great sleep that night. I think. Yeah, first night in a hotel. I don't know about anyone else, but I always sleep horrible. So does Georgia. I think I got maybe 2 hours of sleep. So I was really exhausted. So we were going for early entry. So if you stay at a Disneyland resort, one of the three, you can enter the park 30 minutes before. Well, technically they let all guests in now through the gates, but you can go into, they have it's not a special line, but they guide early entry guests to the right side of the park through Tomorrowland, which actually you don't have to go through Tomorrowland. You can just
You stay on that side of the hub.
Stay on that side, and then you can go through Fantasyland. Some rides they have open, like they have Peter Pan, Dumbo, a lot of the Fantasyland rides. Space Mountain is open, Buzz, the Rockets. So a few rides are open from 7:30 to 8. So if you have early entry, you can ride those rides, and you pretty much walk right on. But we were planning on rope dropping Rise. So we got Genie Plus, but Rise is an individual lightning lane. So if you want to go in the lightning lane for that, you have to purchase that separately from Genie Plus.
Yeah,
and
$20 each.
It's $20 each. So that's $100 for our family. I'm doing my math right there, right?
Yeah, 20 times 5.
Which we're not going to do.
Nope.
So when you have early entry, you walk around the hub, around the Walt Disney statue, and you line up at a rope, hence the term rope drop, that is right next to the rope that all the other guests, hundreds of guests, are lining up at. They do not have, you don't get to go any further. There just aren't as many people in your line in front of you. So we were pretty much right up against the rope, maybe 15 people. Around us. But right next to us, it would be the equivalent of being like in the next shopping lane, or lane at like a grocery store.
Yep.
There's hundreds.
I have a video of it. You'll have to post it. I'll post it.
They drop the ropes at the same time. It's so stupid.
This is the most angry I've ever seen you at a Disney park.
I got pretty mad before in like 2019 with the whole Rise of the Resistance queue thing.
That's true.
I don't like when they do this and it makes it like stressful, like you're not going to get to ride the ride. And it's like, you can if you want to wait forever. So, I mean, I guess that's on me. I'm used to not having to because fast passes were free.
Yeah.
But so we're getting ready, right? And we're like, all right, all these people. And I hear cast members asking them not to run, but come on. Like, so I'm telling the boys, like, okay, like, get ready. Boston, I was carrying Georgia. We had Boston in the stroller because we were like, all right, this is going to go crazy. We don't want him, He also is short, so he walks slow, small little legs. I told the boys to like stay with me. So they dropped the rope and it was like the old videos you see, or maybe you were part of it. Maybe you were part of this on Black Friday of people like ramming into stores, like, and stampeding over people.
Yeah, I didn't see anyone get mentality.
Yes, because nobody wants to pay.
Yeah.
Which we didn't see this as much in Disney World. And I don't, it could be the same and we just didn't see it.
Yeah.
But like, yeah. So grown women are pushing past my children, which Noah, I mean, he's 9, but he's small for his age. Yeah. So he could easily pass for like a 7-year-old.
Yeah.
And I almost got separated from him. I had to look around for Jack. I was just ticked because I'm like, this is just a ride. And you grown women pushing past me could have separated me from my children. And then there are hundreds of people like all of a sudden right on top of you pushing.
Yeah.
And it just made me mad because I was just like, and people are sprinting past. Yeah. And cast members are like, don't run. And they are just like booking it.
Yeah.
I was very, very irritated. I was like, no, I'm not doing this. This isn't fun. I could see if you were a teenager, you're there with your friends, maybe even if it was just me and you without a bunch of little kids.
Still,
you could feed off that excitement. But also the older you get, the less I feel, well, actually that's not true because these were women and men and adults older than me that were doing this.
Yeah.
Like, because I was going to say you get kind of over that, like, but maybe that's just me. I don't know. I just, it was just very frustrating. And so anyways, so we try to get there as fast as we can. And we're like, okay, we'll just get there when we get there.
Yeah. I made the mistake of, I was thinking cause Rise is on the Hungry Bear side of Galaxy's Edge. It's a Hungry Bear restaurant. So you go through Frontierland and then you go to the left through New Orleans Square, down past Splash Mountain into Critter Country. And then there's Hungry Bear and there's a path to Galaxy's Edge.
Because Rise is on that side.
So I thought, okay, Rise is on that side. Let's go down that way.
Which I was thinking,
even though I saw most people go the other way in Frontierland towards Thunder Mountain, and go through that entrance.
Right. Which then there's the third entrance.
Which is closer to Fantasyland. And that's what I thought. I thought we can go through Fantasyland. What if we line up on that side? I wonder what kind of rope they have there and when do they drop the rope there? But we decided, or you decided, which who knows? I didn't.
Well, but we had no idea. So we go and, we walk past the ride and we're like, okay, we need to get a rider switch. But the cast members like, to the end, and like guiding everyone to the end of the line. So we're like, okay, I guess we'll have to wait until we get up to the entrance to ask for a rider switch. It went all the way almost to Smuggler's Run.
Almost to
like
Smuggler's
we
Run.
walked almost the length of Galaxy's Edge, and Rise is at one side of that. Yeah. So we just kept going and going and going. And when I passed it, because I was a little behind you, I looked over and it already said 75 minutes.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay, I'm not waiting that long. Like, no way.
Yeah.
So, and it was humid.
It was really
So by the
hot
time we get there at 8:07, I was sweating.
Yeah.
And then we looked on our phone at the app, because at this point we can't look at the line where the sign is at the beginning of the line, because we are way past that. So we had to look at the app and it says, no, it still said 75. I'm sorry, it still said 75. So I'm like, no, Georgia is crying. It was just too much for her. And I'm like, okay, I'm leaving. I'm going to go get coffee. I'm going to just walk around with her. Maybe I'll ride some rides in Fantasyland. Like, I don't care about this ride that much. You can take all the boys. So as I'm leaving, I see that it's up to 90.
Yeah.
So I text you. I'm like, just so you know, it's up to 90. And you're like, okay, the boys want to wait. And I'm like, oh my gosh, there goes our morning. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
So I walk back to New Orleans Square, and I'm just trying to calm Georgia down because she was just fussy and figuring out, what am I going to do? And I look, and Pirates is 5 minutes. People are just walking on. And I'm like, I'm going to ride Pirates. So I was about to text you that I was going to ride Pirates.
Yeah.
And I think I texted you and I was like, Pirates is 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Thunder Mountain is 10 minutes. So I think I remember you text you something like, maybe tell the boys, like, these rides.
Yeah.
Like, and you did, told them like we could ride. Like,
I
so
told us
many
like we could ride 10 rides in the same amount of time that we wait for Rise itself. And they're like, no, we really want to do it. We really want to do it. And I was like, you guys, we're going to waste our entire morning in this ride, in this line for Rise, and the ride that you've gone on multiple times.
Yeah.
It's like, if this was your first time ever riding on it, then okay, I would get that. I would also argue I would pay for it if it was our first.
If it was the first time
If it was our first
experiencing
time with how young our kids are and having to wait in.
Okay, well, I would save
multiple hour
$20
line.
and I wouldn't go on it. So that would save $20 right there.
No, you
I would
go on it.
No,
I would make you go on it.
Well, they would have to pay for it with their allowance. Like, you guys want to ride Rise and ride the Lightning Lane? Hey, that's not a bad idea in the future.
Yeah. But yeah, then I finally convinced them. I was like, guys, we can ride on Thunder Mountain. We can go do Pirates. We could go do Space Mountain. We could go do Star Tours, all in the same amount of time that we wait in this one line.
Yeah.
They're like, okay, yeah, we'll do that.
Yeah.
So I think we waited line total of like 20 minutes before we got out.
Maybe not even. I don't know if it was even that long. So then we got on Pirates, walked right on. After that, we went, Big Thunder was like 20 minutes. So it was right there. So we walked over to Big Thunder Mountain. We did the rider switch. You and Boston went. And then I took the big boys in Georgia.
And Georgia? Georgia went on Thunder Mountain? You said you took the big boys and Georgia.
You interrupted me. I didn't
I
finish
know,
my
but
sentence.
it sounded like the way you said it. It sounded like you took Georgia.
I said, and then we walked. I was thinking of the Rockets. And I'm like, you guys can go on the Rockets. And they're like, can we wait in line by ourselves? And I was like, yeah, that's fine. But what I had said was Astro Blasters.
Oh.
So Astro Orbiters is the Rockets, right? So I said Astro Blasters. And they're like, can we wait by ourselves? And I was like, yeah, that's fine. It's all outdoors. I can see you in line. Like, that's fine. You're 12 and 9. We're good. So we get there and I go toward, and they're in front of me and they're walking towards Buzz. I'm like, you guys, Rockets. And they're like, but you said, and I was like, oh my gosh, I said Astro Blasters. And I look and it's only 5 minutes. And I'm like, because they've ridden rides together, but never alone. Like they've been in a car and we're in the car right in front or behind them because they're old enough for that.
Yeah.
But they've never waited in line by themselves. And in Buzz, it was indoor, I can't see them.
Yeah.
But I'm like, okay, it's 5 minutes. They're most likely going to walk right on. It exits right out in the gift shop. I can just go stand there and wait for them. Jack has his little smartwatch. I can track him. He can text me. I'm like, okay. And so I'm like, okay, they were so stinking excited.
Yeah.
Like, oh man, this is the best. They're like high-fiving each other. Like, so they rode that. I just walked around in the gift shop and waited for him. Jack's so good. I get like a message from him like, okay, we're coming. We just got off. And that day, that was the best part of Noah's day, he said.
No.
Was waiting in line alone, riding Buzz by themselves.
It reminds me of when Bugs Land and we let them ride on Heimlich, the train, but they were in the seats in front of us.
Oh gosh, they were like 4 and 2 or something. Yeah.
But yeah, they got a kick out of that because they were sitting in their own row.
In their own
us.
row.
Yeah.
So then you guys were done and it was like we didn't tell Boston that the big boys got to wait in line by themselves.
Now he knows.
Now he knows if he listens to this. Sorry, Bubby. But then we switched. The boys and I went on Big Thunder. And I don't even know if you guys, because it went up to 30 Big Thunder by the time we walked over there.
We
for
didn't
you.
wait 30
You didn't wait 30 minutes. No. And then we did the Lightning Lane. We waited maybe 5 minutes for Big Thunder. And then when we got done with that, we did Star Tours. We walked back. We over and we did Star Tours.
The wait time started ticking up.
Yeah.
At this point. And so
it was 30 or 45 minutes.
It was 45.
Because that's right. We walked over to do Space Mountain, but by the time we got there, it was 45 minutes. Georgia fell asleep.
Yeah.
We walked over there. It was 45 minutes. And we were like,
we're going to do Rider
can
Switch.
Get this. We can get this for Lightning Lane later, not have to wait.
Yeah.
So we were like, well, let's go back and see what's over here or whatever. And then we saw Star Tours was 30 or 40 minutes.
It was like 30 minutes by the time we walked over there.
It was 40, yeah.
40 or 45.
So, but we were like, whatever. So, because at that point, Boston was kind of starting to like, oh, I want to ride it. So you took all the boys because I'm okay with skipping Star Tours. And I just walked around and did some shopping and Georgia fell asleep. And I saw a couple get engaged in front of the castle.
Right. Yeah,
that was
cool.
Cute. And then it was time for the Lightning Lane for Indiana Jones.
Oh, yeah.
So this was going to be Jack, Noah, and Boston's all their first time. Noah was like back and forth with it, but he decided to do it. So I went first with Jack and Noah. And the Lightning Lane is, longer on this one.
That one always lasts a little bit longer.
Yeah. So I say we probably waited like 20, 25 minutes, which actually I can check, which for a Lightning Lane is a bit longer. You typically don't wait that long. Let's see. I'm just going to check something. Let's see. So we got in line at 11:50 and we were on the car at 12:13. So yeah, about almost 25 minutes.
Yeah.
Noah's flipping out the whole time, like terrified in line. He wants me to tell him everything that might scare him. Jack doesn't want to hear anything. He wants to be all surprised. I did ask the cast member. I was like, "It's their first time. Can we get the front row?" And she was like, "Yeah, sure." But I could tell once we got in, we got all buckled. And then when the cast member comes to have you pull on the strap, we were there for a little while. Mm-hmm. And I was like, are you kidding me? And Indiana Jones breaks down like all the time. So I was nervous, but we went. Noah was just closing his eyes, just shaking, like he was so scared, which it is. He didn't mind the way
ride.
He didn't mind the way it moved.
Yeah.
He said he liked that, but the images and stuff that you see, it's scary. And if he doesn't know the movies or anything. So, but then he liked the part over the bridge, and then the boulder part comes.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, but you got to watch this part. You got to watch this part. It didn't move.
Yeah.
And the light wasn't on over it, so you couldn't even see it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm like,
it was like that when I went on it in May.
lame.
Yeah.
The boulder used to roll forward at you.
Yeah.
And I remember that when we went a couple years ago on our anniversary, it didn't move. And I'm like, can they fix that, please? Because it's not nearly, it's not like scary once you've been on the ride so many times, but like it didn't even move.
Yeah.
And then the light that shines on it wasn't on. So you could barely even see that there was a boulder there.
Yeah.
So then we go down under that, pitch black, and we're there stuck for like almost a minute.
Yeah.
And Noah's like, is it over? Is it over? And I'm like, yeah, buddy, pretty much. And I'm like, oh gosh, please don't be stuck here for too long. Like, and then we started back up and got off. But I was just like, it was pitch black, pitch black. So he did not like it. It took him a while to shake it off. Jack loved it. But Noah did not at all.
He was like me when I first went on it. I hated it too. It scared the...
Yeah. He was like iffy about space. He went on Space Mountain in Disney World. He wasn't crazy about it. And I was like, okay, well, you got to try it in Disneyland again because it's been several years since you've been on it. And I think you'll really like it. After Indiana Jones, he was like, no. And I'm like, not that it's anything like it, but he just wasn't going to risk anything after that. He was done. Yeah. He was done. Yeah. So then you guys went on and you in Boston, and you had about the same wait. You guys were waiting for a while.
Yeah, it was a while. And Boston started getting a little nervous. Just because the line is kind of scary. You're in like
it's
a
dark tunnel,
cave. And but we went on it and he loved it. He loved the whole thing. So.
And then so while you guys were on it, we had mobile ordered lunch at the Stage Door Cafe. So we went over there, we picked it up, ate. The boys ate their packed lunches. And then we had a lightning lane for Space Mountain. So after lunch, we walked over and did that. So we do the lightning lane and then we have rider switch. So with rider switch, you get to go through the exit on that one.
Well, the only reason why we had to do rider switch on that is because we were late. Because Indiana Jones took so long.
And we explained to the cast member, we can't just do lightning lane. We also have to do rider switch. So there's, we have to do it twice. And
and so what she did was she honored your lightning lane. I forget who you took.
I took Boston.
You took Boston.
Yeah.
Honored your 2 lightning lanes and then gave us 3 more rider switch.
For a rider switch, yeah. Boston loved it.
Yeah.
Said it was way better than the one in Disney World.
Yep. It's my boy.
He was just cracking up the whole time. And so then you and Jack went on it and Noah didn't want to. So then Boston got to go again because he got to take his spot.
Yep.
And
Jack got to be in his own row by himself.
Yeah. And those 2 boys loved it. Boston or Noah was not ready for it on this trip. Hopefully next time. Maybe next time. We'll see. Yeah. So then after that, we got on the monorail and went back to the hotel. So the monorail drops you off, at the end of downtown Disney, and you can walk that way to Paradise Pier as well. You can either walk across and go through Grand California and go halfway through downtown Disney, or you can walk the back way and you start at the beginning of downtown Disney. So that works out for the monorail really well. Once we got off the monorail, it was about a 7 minute, 7 minute walk to the hotel. And you took the boys swimming. I got Georgia down for a nap. Just took a little break. It was hot and we're really tired. But we had a lightning lane for Splash Mountain around 6. So we went back in for dinner, mobile ordered Hungry Bear. And then we took turns doing Splash Mountain. I took Noah in Boston. Boston got the front row. And then, so if you're 6 or under, if you're in the front row, you have to have someone, I think probably at least 14 behind you. So Noah couldn't sit behind him. I had to sit behind him, and then Noah was behind me, which was fine because Noah didn't want to be in the second row. He was like, I'll be in number 3. I was like, you don't want to be in number 2? But then the people in front of us, I heard her ask, and the little boy was 6. And so she had his big sister had to move so the dad could sit behind him. So I was like, okay, this works out anyway, because I'll have to sit behind Boston. We had ponchos, like go back for you. Like, why go on a water ride if you don't want to get wet? One, I still get pretty wet with ponchos.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Your shoes still get wet. Your socks still get wet.
Honestly, I didn't care about my clothes. I don't want my hair to get wet. This was our first day. I only wash my hair once a week. I don't have time in the morning. I already have to wake up at 5 o'clock to get, ready and have everybody out by 7 to do early entry. Okay. I don't have time to now wash my hair. So pretty much I'm just wearing it for my hair. And I had it like up and around. So it wasn't even covering my clothes because it was hot. So I was like, I'm good with getting wet. But Boston still got pretty wet. I was wearing a skirt, and my skirt was like it was wet. It was very wet. And yeah, I was a little sad though, just because it might be like the last time I ever go on Splash Mountain, which I know.
When is that supposed to? I think it's 2024.
I know. I'm wondering when it closes. Yeah. Because it's also my sister's one of her favorite rides, and she might come with us next time if we go in the winter, and I really want to ride it one more time.
Yeah. So
I really hope that it's not closed yet.
We'll just have to make a special trip to go down.
Yeah, once they announce when they close it, because I'm sad. But then, you took Jack. He loved it.
He loved it too, yeah.
And meanwhile, in little critter country, Georgia was just walking all over the place. So up until this point, she'd been like, she could walk. She'd taken steps on her own, but she was very timid about it. And she just was wanting to walk all over the place. And so that's what she was doing. And then the plan was to get a spot for the fireworks, and we wanted to get one towards the end of Main Street. So we were looking down Main Street at the castle, and we got there.
There was nothing.
Around 7. The fireworks are at 9:30. Nothing.
Well, because the problem is, people, they've when you have 2 nighttime shows back to back, people are finding spots for the parade. Yeah. And then those spots take up spots for the fireworks.
And a lot of people just stay for both.
They just stay for both.
Yeah. Well, there used to be a parade around like 5.
Yeah.
And then people wouldn't wait for the fireworks, but I would. So the parade would be at like 5 or 6, and I would just like plant there for hours. But yeah, so we were too late. So I was like, okay, maybe I'll just go back. Let's watch in front of Small World. They project everything onto Small World. Before, I remember during the 60th, always kind of going back and forth whether we wanted to watch in front of the castle or Small World. And we were hoping to get in front of the castle, or not right in front of the castle, but just so we could see the castle. But it wasn't going to happen. Like, I really didn't feel like crowding in just so that a bunch of tall people could stand in front of us and the kids, and none of us could see anything, and being crowded and smashed in with people when Georgia's getting upset. Like, I was like, I don't want to do it. Yeah. So, then we went over where we were for the parade by Small World, and, you took the boys on Big Thunder. I waited it out. And we got a pretty good spot. I feel like I had to like maneuver after the parade because I didn't care about the parade. So people were in front of us for the parade, and I was fine with that. But then once they left, I tried to like maneuver a little closer, and we could totally see Small World. When you're in front of Small World, the fireworks like aren't right above Small World. They're over to the side a bit. Yeah. So the fireworks aren't necessarily like, they're not centered. There's some things that they do.
Yeah, you don't see the fireworks directly behind or on top of the castle because they come off of the castle.
Right. So you can't see those. I think there's parts where like there's flames and you don't see that, but it's still really, really great. Like it's a neat view, and it's typically not as crowded as the castle. And then we left. We headed out once the fireworks were over. The boys almost did. They didn't want to stay. They're like, we don't want to stay for the fireworks. Jack has been like, I want to stay till park closed.
I know. He couldn't even handle it.
Nobody.
We're
not doing that.
Until 8 o'clock.
And it was 9 o'clock. And he was like, I'm tired. I want to go back. I'm like, no, we're watching the fireworks. Like, I love these fireworks. I've been sitting there for like an hour and a half with Georgia. I'm like, no, we're watching the fireworks. But then they were all happy that we watched the fireworks. And Georgia had fallen asleep. We walked back to the hotel. So you got ice cream.
That's right.
We mobile ordered ice cream at Gibson Girl. And then as we were walking down Main Street, you ran in and got it. And I kept walking.
I made the mistake of thinking that getting a double scoop and a cone, because I'm pushing the stroller, I can eat this one-handed.
No, I had the stroller. No. But when you got, yeah.
When I got the ice cream, and I was like, I can eat this one-handed, not knowing that when you get 2 scoops, they put it in a cup, and they put the cone upside on top, upside down. So I can't eat this
while you push the stroller.
So I'm like trying to eat ice cream out of a cup one-handed, just like
without a spoon.
And then it was nice and melted by the time we got back to the hotel.
I told you, it's just a milkshake.
I know, but still not as good.
But yeah, so, I mean, we got a lot done. Like, we did
a lot.
I mean, if we wouldn't have tried to rope drop rise, we could have done even more.
Mm-hmm.
But even with that, because you guys got out of line, we were able to get quite a bit done because everyone goes to Rise.
Mm-hmm. We'll talk about this in our tip episode.
I have a lot to say.
We got some good tips for you.
So then Tuesday was California Adventure. It was our only day in California Adventure. We usually try to do like a day and a half in each, but it just didn't work out this time. And so we were doing early entry again, which was 7:30. But now because we were staying at Paradise Pier, you get that private entrance just for Paradise Pier guests. And it's right across the street from the hotel. You walk along the backside of the Grand California Hotel and you come out like right by Goofy Sky School, in between like Ariel's ride and Goofy Sky School. So it's a neat little spot to come out. And during early entry, like there's no one around. There's like no one there. So, and the line wasn't too bad. Like,
no, it wasn't too bad. At first it seemed kind of long, like, and it wasn't moving.
Yeah. But then they had like three security tables. So it moved faster.
Yeah.
Where there's one entrance from Grand California Hotel that only has one security table. And so that one goes slow. Mm-hmm. But this one had 3. So, we got through pretty fast. So our plan was to rope drop racers, because again, that's an individual lightning lane, $20, and we were not going to pay that. And we all wanted to ride it. It's my favorite ride. Well,
actually, I think it's $18.
Oh, okay. So it would save us that $10.
Mm-hmm. Hey, okay. $10 is $10.
Yeah, that's true. But it's I think I said it was my favorite, but it's pretty tied with Incredicoaster. It's a very close call. But so the difference with this one is when you enter, well, either way, if you go through the Paradise Pier entrance or the main gate, early entry guests, you can walk into Cars Land.
Mm-hmm.
So some of those rides, like the Ouija's ride and Mater's, is open for early entry. Racers is not. You can line up for it, but it is not open until 8. It does not start running until 8. Web Slingers is another individual lightning lane. It opens for early entry. Guardians opens for early entry. I think the Carousel does down on Pixar Pier. So a few, but there's some big rides too, like Web Slingers. That's a big one.
Yeah.
So anyways, so the difference here is you get to go into Cars Land and line up for racers at Racers.
Before anybody else.
Where everyone else, all other guests that are not doing early entry, are stopped back at Avengers Campus. So they're basically stopped at like Buena Vista Street, basically.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But you get to walk into Cars Land and line up at the entrance of Racers.
Yeah.
So we were way ahead of the game. You did not have to like do this mob run to Cars Land. Because we were like, oh, how is this going to be? We do not want this to be another Rise. Like that was a nightmare. Like we're not going to get on Racers. And once we walked in, like you went and got coffee and I was walking through Cars Land and I'm like, oh, this is going to be fine.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
this is going to be totally fine. And then they even let us go in just for crowd control. They let us go into the line a few minutes before 8 just for crowd control. They're like, the ride is not running until 8, but we're letting you into the line. And it was like 7:57. So I'm like, well, the ride's going to start running pretty soon. So you and Boston went. And then I let the boys ride Luigi's. And I did a story on Instagram of people. Once it was 8 o'clock, I was recording from my view of Route 66 on, in the main street in Carsland, and people just running. And I was like, man, this is where early entry is great. And I have no idea why they don't do this.
That's the way it should be. In
Disneyland for Rise.
Yeah.
Like, why don't they let the early entry people line up at the end of, New Orleans Square or the beginning, like by Hungry Bear? Like, why don't they give you a head start? Like, it would be better for crowd control. I don't understand. I am very curious about the Fantasyland entrance because you can go into Fantasyland. I don't know. Maybe another trip we'll test that out.
We'll have to try that out.
So
me and Boston went on it, and we waited a little bit longer because it broke down. It was like, I don't even think the ride, they hadn't even put people on the ride yet. I think because it was running before it was open, just kind of, make sure it was working. And then it stopped. By the time that we got to, it was probably down for, I want to say, 15, 20 minutes before they reopened it. I think it was about a 2-hour wait.
Yeah, they told you. Yeah.
They said over the intercom, it's like, right now we're about a 2-hour wait. But I think we waited a total of, like 40 minutes.
Yeah, it was about 40, 45 minutes, but it broke down.
If it didn't broke down, it probably been only about 20 minutes.
Yeah. And I let the boys ride Luigi's the first time they went on because it was like 7:35 or something like that. It was just them. It was literally just them. And then another dad with his daughter came on. They were about to like close it and just have the boys on it by themselves. But then two other people came on. So there was only 2 cars with people in it. And then they ran and got on it right again. But then it broke down. And, but at that point, you guys had texted that you were getting on. So I was like, all right, well, let's just go sit and wait for Dad. We walked through some gift shops and just waited for you. And then we went on it and we got to go in the lightning lane with Rider Switch, and we waited 10 minutes, maybe. And then you lost George's toy. And then
you had to bring that up.
Which we didn't realize till hours later.
Yeah.
The new toy I bought her.
It's all right. We bought a new one.
Yeah, we bought a second one.
We bought a second one because that's what you do.
But yeah, so then after we got done with racers, we had gotten a lightning lane for Guardians, which Boston was going on.
Yes.
And so I got to go out with Boston. One of the best experiences in my Disneyland history. Like, it was just so great. He was so excited, and his face, we had the GoPro, and most of it you can't see because it's in the dark, but when it lights up and you can't see his face, it's just the best. Like, he was just so shocked. Like, the first time that I could see him, because at first you're in the darkness, so I couldn't see his face, but I could hear him go, "Wow!" I'm like, "Oh man, oh man." So the first time I could see his face, I look over and he's just like, looks like he's in shock. I'm like, "You okay?" He's like, "Oh yeah." He just loved it. He loved it. It was so great. I wish that the whole thing you could see it, because it was great. Well, I'm sure we'll post some of it, but that ride's just so good. It's so good. And so then when we got off and we waited maybe 10 minutes, he wanted to do it again.
Yeah.
So because with the rider switch, you're able to take someone, the second group, you can take up to 3 more people, or up to 2 more people.
A total of 3. Total of 3.
Total of 3. So he wanted to go on it again. So he went with you, and I took the big boys, did Mater. So you guys went on Guardians, our youngest boy, and Mater we saw on the app. It was like 10 to 15 minutes. So I just walked over there and they did that by themselves because they were just loving doing that.
Yeah.
And then you got a lightning lane because as soon as you check in, your whole party has checked in and you've done all your lightning lane. If it's under 2 hours, you can make your next selection. So we did Soarin'. We did Rider Switch with that. Everyone always loves that one. And then we got lunch at Pim's Kitchen in Adventures Campus, which is a new place for us. We wanted to try new places if we could. And it was good. Like looking at the menu at first, I was like, I oddly got I got a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, but it was like, I forget what it was called, but
it was like it had the GB3 or the PB3 special or something, because it had candied bacon and bananas in it. Yeah. And I was like, okay, I'll try that. And it was good. I'm not a huge peanut butter and jelly fan. I love peanut butter, but like I've just never been a huge peanut butter and jelly fan, but it was good. The other things didn't sound great to me at the time. Yeah. And then it comes with tater tots, which were really good. Tater tots were really good. Yeah, and I got the chicken sandwich, which is like a big old chicken breast, fried chicken breast with a tiny bun. Yeah. So it's supposed to make it look like because everything about it is about it's supposed to make the food like really big. Yeah. If you've ever watched Ant-Man. But yeah, it was really good. It was really good. Yeah, I would definitely eat there again. And we were talking to a cast member, and she was like recommending all these things to us. And I was like, oh, that sounds good. That sounds good. Like I'll definitely eat there again. While we were eating, Iron Man was taking pictures. The boys were just watching Iron Man. And so then we did Ariel, which was like 10 to 15 minutes. Georgia loved it. She was wearing an Ariel shirt. And so every time we said, oh, do you want to go ride Ariel? She'd point to her shirt. Yeah. And she's never, well, now she has because I put it on, but she had never even seen Little Mermaid, but she knew who Ariel, I'm very proud of myself in my parenting. And so when we're in line for the ride, when we get inside and you see Ariel painted on the wall, she's just like, and like pointing at her shirt and pointing at Ariel. And it was really cute. So that was her first ride ever. Yeah. The first time she went and she screamed her head off, but she was only 4 months old. So now she's, however old she is. What's today? Oh, she'll be 7. No. I don't know. I'll figure it out later. How old will she be tomorrow? I don't know. And then we got a lightning lane. We had Grizzly River Run. We had some time in there where we were like, oh, we don't really have enough time to do anything, but we had a little while before Grizzly River Run. We were kind of just killing time there for a little bit. Just Boston playing with those bubble blowers, So Noah and I waited maybe 5 minutes in the lightning lane for Grizzly River Run. It's wonderful. It's so fun. Yeah. And then you and Boston went. Jack does not like getting wet. He also has a history of getting, it wasn't really motion sickness. It was kind of motion sickness, I guess. He passed out after being on a boat. So we're like, yeah, you can skip that one. And then we walked into the animation building while you and Boston were on. We went to the animation building and, it was hot. That building's great. So when we're in there, you and Boston were on your way. I saw that Web Slingers was $25 because we really didn't want to pay for Web Slingers. It's individual lightning lane. So you have to pay for it separately. And the whole week before when I was looking at wait times, I'd see it. They fluctuate a lot through the day. So they'd be like 25 minutes and then they'd be an hour and then it would be like 35 minutes and then 45 minutes. So I was like, okay, let's try to catch it at a good time. Mm-hmm. So we were in there. I see that it's 25 minutes. So I text you. I'm like, hey, we're heading to Web Slingers. It's 25 minutes. It is not a long walk from the animation building to Web Slingers. Yeah, it's right around the corner. So we start to walk there because we were going to get a treat. But I said, why don't you get treats and I'll meet you there. By the time we get a little past Guardians, we're like almost to Web Slingers. I look and it says 55 minutes. Yeah. And we were like, oh, we didn't want to wait that long. So we got a treat, hung out, went back to the animation building. We had decided not to go back to the hotel for a break
this day just because there was still stuff we wanted to do and it just didn't work out. We did Turtle Talk. You got Georgia down for a nap. Boss, or no, what's his name? Jack was Jamaica Jack. He got called on to ask a question. Right. Jamaica Jack. It's cute. If you've never done it, it's definitely entertaining if you've never done it. We've done it a lot of times, so it's getting a little old because it's the same thing.
It's the same thing over and over and over again.
But the first several times it was fun. But I'm getting to the point where I'm like, okay, guys, I'm getting kind of over this. But if you've never done it, like I totally recommend it. It's cute. So then we had a lightning lane for Incredicoaster.
I went on it first.
You went on it first, fun. And I took. Oh no, I'm sorry. We did Toy Story Mania.
Oh, that's right.
We had it. Yeah. We had a lightning lane for Toy Story Mania after that, and we waited five minutes.
Yeah, we didn't wait very long.
We walked right on. I don't remember what the standby line was, but it was like 50 minutes or so.
It was about an hour,
and we walked. Yeah, waited maybe 5 minutes. And then we had the lightning lane for Incredicoaster. So we decided, even though it was just me and you riding, we didn't do single rider because sometimes single rider can take longer. Mm-hmm. And we had Genie Plus. So we were like, well, let's just get a lightning lane for it because lightning lane is often faster than single rider. Single rider is great if you need to do it, if you don't buy Genie Plus, but we did. So you went on it. I took the kids on the carousel. And then I got in line. Tied favorite ride.
Yeah.
So I get up. She's about to ask me. She's the two girls in front. She says, how many? They say 2. She starts to walk, but then another cast member runs up and says, no. Put them back. So they walk back because I was about to tell her 1. I was about to tell her. She was about to put me in a row. And they back us up. And then I look over and this girl's jumping on the car trying to release the harness of the car that just got back in. And I'm like, oh, that's my nightmare. Then my nightmare is getting stuck with that harness on. Every time I go on a roller coaster where the harness comes down over you, I always have to like take deep breaths and be like, I can get out of this. I can get out of this. And then they're like, it broke down. So, but they will give you another lightning lane to use on another ride, not the big ones, not Web Slingers, not Guardians, not Racers. But you can use it again on Incredicoaster if it opens back up. So I walk out pretty bummed. I was pretty hungry at this point, and I was pretty bummed. This is not the first time this has happened to me in Incredicoaster. I believe this is like the third or so time,
all the time.
where you go first and then I go second.
Yeah.
This has happened to me, like, I want to say 3 or 4 times.
Maybe it's me that's breaking it.
Maybe we need to change our order next time. So I get out, I scan because I'm like, I want to ride this later. As we're walking out, hearing people say that a car got stuck. And if you saw
I'm the one that told you that you got stuck.
No, I heard people.
Oh, okay.
I heard people around me saying it too. At the same time that you text me, people were saying, a car got stuck. You know, oh, look over there. People are stuck. And so we're like, all right, let's just go get our food. We're going to get food at Boardwalk Pizza and Pasta. It's a favorite. And we walk by and you can see I did a story, which it's gone now, but the car got stuck up there. People were in it. Yeah. I felt so bad for those people. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's my nightmare. And then I was like, I don't even know if I want to go on it. I'm kind of freaked out now.
Yeah.
And I wonder how long those people were on there. Because then by the time we got done with dinner, the car was still up there, but the people were out of it.
Yeah.
But it was hot. Thankfully, the sun was going down, so it was behind them. Because I looked, I was like, okay, where's the sun? Is it on those people? Oh my gosh. I saw people like on their phones, just like looking at their phones. And but anyway, so then we ate dinner and then we decided to head over to Web Slingers and just see and give it a try. It was 55 minutes, but it was getting towards the end of the night. And we're like, if we don't do it, we're not going to do it. Mm-hmm. So we bit the bullet and we did it.
Yeah.
So it said 55 minutes. We waited
about an hour. So
a little more than that. I saw that a lot this time, like wait times. Sometimes we're a little shorter. Sometimes we're a little longer. But
there was never a time
it was like
when
an
it was
averaging.
like, you hear people say like, oh, it's listed for like, 90 minutes or 75 minutes, but I only waited 30 minutes. It's like, I didn't.
Only that time you guys went on Thunder Mountain and it said 30 and you guys probably waited like 15 or 20.
Yeah.
But other than that, it was about an average, I'd say. So we waited. It was long. It was kind of like when you were going on a long drive and the first half is really hard, but then the second half, you're just like, okay.
Yeah.
But it's fun.
It's fun.
I wouldn't wait an hour again for it.
I wouldn't.
But I also want to pay for it.
Yeah.
So, if you have nothing else to do, it's fun. We had you have to get in a virtual queue for World of Color, but you had to get there at like 7. Pretty much. You needed to, they don't let you in until like 8, but you want to line up to get in early. But the boys wanted to ride web slingers, so we did that instead. So then we got out. World of Color was going to start, but there was no way we were going to get a spot. So we just went and got dessert, and then we're walking back, which nice thing is that we had that entrance. So the walk was going to be really easy back to the hotel.
Really short.
So on the walk out, we got some glimpses of World of Color because it was going on. So second half of that day
wasn't great.
Found out lost Gigi's toy. I didn't get to ride Incredicoaster. And then I wanted this drink at Pim's Kitchen that by then it was too late. I couldn't drink it and feed Georgia later. So I had to skip out on that, and I didn't get to watch World of Color. So,
but the great thing is all those things will still be there, including Georgia's toy.
No, I ran back to where I figured you lost it and I couldn't find it.
Yeah,
and I asked the gift shop right next to it if anyone had turned it in.
And I put a claim in and they still haven't found it. So, but we bought a different one. Bought a new one. So,
So, I mean, we got everything done except for me and the credit card. But I mean, we did it. There was nothing that the boys were like, oh, we didn't get to do that. As we were walking out and they saw World of Color, they were like, thought it looked pretty cool. And I was like, yeah, it is. That's what I was trying to tell you.
Yeah.
But I told them next time we're definitely watching it. Like, I don't care. But the walk back was great.
Yeah, that was cool. I like that.
It's super easy.
But we never went down Buena Vista Street.
That's true. That's the only thing that stinks is because we wanted to try that entrance. We didn't go through the main entrance. So we never even walked. We walked past the fountain because we were walking like from the Grizzly River Run area over to Hollywood, but we didn't go. Yeah. So I didn't really see that part of the park. It's kind of weird. We did things a little differently this time.
Well, because of Genie Plus, you bounce around. You do.
That's something that I don't like either.
Like before, we would start in Tomorrowland or work our way around
and get fast passes as you go because you know you're going to this area next. And now it's like you take a fast pass for a good time.
Yeah.
So you're like, oh, I'm in Tomorrowland, and Space Mountain doesn't have a return time for a few hours, but I can get a return time right now for Thunder Mountain. So you go do that. So you walk a lot more. And your phone battery dies.
Yeah. I brought 3 phone chargers, 3 phone batteries, and they all died within the first 2 days.
Yeah. So then the next day was our last day. We were only doing a half day. We did early entry for Disneyland. And this time we went through the downtown Disney entrance. They have a lot more security tables than when you go through the Grand California entrance, and I got right through.
So this is by Disneyland Hotel. So you go up towards the north, or that's not the north end. It's the west end.
Don't even try.
It's west.
I hate when people say that. I'm like, which way? They're like, turn west. I'm like, right or left? But we walked right through, and this is always hectic because we're checking out, so we've got to pack everything up. But we were not going to try Foot Rise. I was like, we didn't get to do Fantasyland, and for early entry, it's open and it's empty because everybody is lining up for Rise. So we did that instead. And we got some pictures because no one's in front of the castle. So it's a great time to get pictures. And we did Peter Pan. It said it was 20 minutes. And the cast member, I was telling you, I was like, oh, it's 20 minutes. And the cast member was like, in about 3 minutes, it's going to double because it was about to be 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
And we got in, waited maybe 15.
Yeah.
And then we walked right over to Dumbo. It said 10. That's probably about accurate. And then I saw Space Mountain was only 20. So we walked over and did that again.
Yeah.
Rider switch. Oh, that's right. You took Boston first, and then I took Jack and Noah. They did the Rockets. And this was all before like 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
So like, or if you don't go to Rise at first, you can get a lot done, which again, we'll talk more about in the tips. But,
Yep.
and then after that, we walked back to the castle because the picture we had tried to take was not very good. I was like, let's go back real quick. I just want to get one more because the one we took wasn't great. And after we did that, I looked on the app and I saw that Rise was only 45 minutes because Jack had asked me when we were in line for Peter Pan if they could try for Rise. And I said, buddy, I don't think it's going to happen. And he started
crying.
He got upset. And so I look and I'm like, it's 45 minutes. That's not bad. Georgia needs a nap. So I have no problem just sitting on Main Street or walking through the shops, doing all, even if she's asleep, doing all the girly stuff, like walking through and looking at all the dresses for her. Like I'm totally happy doing that. So I was like, why don't you take the boys and I'll get her to sleep. So you did that. Then I saw that there's like the Royal Theater or whatever it's called where you can meet the princesses. It was about to open. I have never done this. So when I was younger, princesses were just in random spots.
Yeah.
There wasn't like you had to wait in line, but there wasn't like a walk-through area where you had to wait forever certain times. Like princesses would just be around. And I haven't had a daughter up until recently. So I go and didn't realize which is kind of dumb if I would have thought about it, it makes sense. But I mean, these families are serious about getting in this line and waiting for the princess because these girls want to take pictures. And like Georgia didn't care. I just thought like, oh, I'll wait like 10, 15 minutes, get a picture with Cinderella. Yeah. So we get in line, finally it opens and I realize this is going to be a while. There's like 20 families in front of me, way more behind me. And I hear a dad say, well, hopefully we don't wait an hour and a half today, like the other day. Gosh. And I was like, nope. I was like, it was almost nap time. She doesn't care yet. We'll do this another time. So I got out and then her and I rode Small World together. At that point, you texted me. By the time you got to Rise, it was up to 70 minutes.
Yeah. From the time that we walked from, where were we?
The castle.
The castle from 45 minutes to 70 minutes. And the boys still wanted to do it. They're like, this is the one thing we want to do today. I'm like, okay, if we're going to do this, we're going to be committed. Because we've pretty much done everything else. Yeah.
And I also, the other 2 mornings, it was overcast and humid until about noon. Yeah. This day, the clouds cleared a lot earlier.
Yeah.
So it got a lot hotter. Hot. I didn't think about giving you guys one of the fans. Also didn't give you snacks. Yeah, you guys just like ran to do it because it was 45 minutes.
Yeah. So like 50 of the, however long, long story short, it said it was 70 minutes. We actually waited about an hour and 40 minutes for that ride. I timed it.
Hour and 40 from till you got on or till you were done?
Till we got into the Star Destroyer.
Okay.
So it was about an hour and 40 minutes. So for the first 50 minutes, it was all in the sun. Ugh. And there's switchbacks. You go in through the main part and then you're going pretty quick. But then there's this part, this extra part of the line that's kind of like overflow. And that's more down near where Hungry Bear is. And you're just going back and forth, probably like 5 or 6 times. But it's all in the sun. There's no shade. and it was just super hot.
I should have walked over there and given you guys the fans.
And just humid. And at this point, like after 50 minutes, actually more like 30 minutes, the boys are like, this was bad idea. And they were like fighting with each other. Jack was pushing Boston. Boston was pushing Noah, like, get away from me, give me my space. And then I was rationing water. I was like, take one sip. Because I brought my water bottle with me.
But we didn't want them to carry all theirs because inevitably they would have sat it down and
I
lost
was wearing
it.
a backpack too. So, but and so once we got inside, it was fine. Because it dramatically cooled down and But I was like, I hope this does not break down.
Oh my
because
gosh.
Rise breaks down all the time.
Well, and if it did, they would have given you.
They would give me a fast pass.
But we were leaving.
We were leaving that day.
And we needed to leave right after this.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't have been able to use it.
Yeah. So while we were in line, we got there, it was 70 minutes. About, 45 minutes in, it said it was 120 minutes. It was the longest I've seen it. It's our trip.
Well, because everyone saw that it was 45 minutes and ran to go do it. So who knows, because you got there and it said 70. Mm-hmm. Who knows how long, it might not have been very long. You could have walked under the sign and it flipped up to 120,
That's true. And then by the time we got inside, so this is probably about, an hour into it, it went down to 90 minutes. Ooh, and then by the time that we got out, it was 45 minutes.
I wonder how many people got out of line that were like, okay, I'm not
Nobody
waiting.
around us got out. So
who knows how they do it? I don't know. But yeah, it was long. I mean, Georgia took a full nap and woke up and we rode a ride. She took a nap. She woke up all in the time you guys were on that ride. So
the boys said it was worth it. I was like, was it worth it? They're like, oh yeah, it's awesome. It is an awesome ride.
Did you think it was worth it?
I would not have waited. Because I've been on it 5-6 times. Yeah. And so it's like, I could go without, I could probably do it. If we go twice a year, I can do it once a year and be good.
So now our next trip, we might have family with us. A fellow Star Wars fan, more critical of a fan than you are.
Yeah.
Has never been to Disneyland ever. Ever. Do you think it would be worth it for him to wait? I don't know if he will. I don't know.
He is someone who would criticize waiting, but also criticize paying.
Oh, he absolutely won't pay. Oh, he won't. He would wait way before he would pay. Absolutely.
But I would recommend paying.
He won't do it.
I know.
He's going to need to wait.
It's like if you have never been on this ride, and it's an amazing ride, it's worth the $20.
Well, then we might have to pay for him.
Might just have to.
He absolutely won't do it.
It's worth, paying the $20 just to wait 10, 15 minutes to get on it instead of possibly waiting 2 hours.
Well, we might just we might need to start saving now for a few individual. But the thing is, too, I'm morally against it, though. I'm also morally against it.
The weather's not going to be as bad.
That's true.
Bad as in hot. It might be bad as in raining.
It could be raining. But I'm also morally, I don't like the Genie Plus thing, but I really don't like the individual. If you are going to pay for Genie Plus, any Lightning Lane should be included in that. There should not be separate ones from it that you have to then pay even more. It should. That's ridiculous. It makes me so angry.
I know.
So anyways. But yeah, so after that, we ate lunch at Galactic Grill in Tomorrowland. And then it was time to go. It took
us 2 hours to get out of there.
Yeah, it took a while because, we all needed treats. The boys hadn't had their lollipops. I always get a cake pop on the way out. We needed things.
I tried going to guest services at City Hall to try to get a partial credit for the toy that
Right. Because
that
I had heard
we
people are
lost.
like, oh, they'll replace lost things. They do for balloons, I believe.
Yeah.
They do not. If you lose a toy that you purchased, they do not replace it.
Yeah.
If it gets damaged, like she was like, if you're wearing a sweater and if you buy a sweater and you are wearing it and then you spill coffee, we'll replace it because it got damaged. Which I don't understand the difference between that. You spilled the coffee, you dropped the toy.
Yeah.
They're both your fault.
Yeah.
So I don't see why, because you could be like, well, you lost the toy. Well, you spilled the coffee.
Probably because there's a possibility that they can be able to find it and then send it back to you. Whereas if you damage, spill coffee on yourself, it's damaged. You're not going to wear that again. It's just going to be thrown away.
I guess. But I tried and I told her, I was like, oh, no problem. I was like, I had heard that maybe you did. So I just wanted to check if there was a chance.
The cast member at the store said, try guest services.
Yes, she told me. And so you waited in line for that.
I waited in line for that.
City Hall.
The cast member there, she was really nice. She was really sorry that we lost it. But she's like, I talked to my manager and it's like, I'm sorry, there's nothing we could do. Best thing we could do is put in a claim to lost and found. It's all done online.
Maybe they'll find it and then she'll have 2 Elsa dolls.
Maybe.
But yeah, so that was that. And then we needed to stop by the Lego store because Noah saved up his money. He wanted this set before we left. And I was like, well, why don't we wait till our trip and we can go into the Lego store and you can get it in the Lego store. So then we had to go in the Lego store.
And then I needed to go to the Star Wars Trading Post.
Yes, to get
my Kyber crystal.
It just takes forever. About that point, I want to stay again. So I'm like, let's just stay one more night. I do not want to drive home. I just want to stay one more night. But we didn't. We drove home.
Yeah.
And it all worked out.
That was good.
But so overall, it was good. It was busy.
Good.
It was.
We got a lot
done. And
at the time, it didn't feel like it. But
looking back, I'm like, oh, we did this. We got all those right. And I will say, Genie Plus, I think is worth it. Do I like it? No. Do I like the fact that you have to purchase it? Absolutely not. I think fast passes work just fine because I do think it drives up the standby line.
Oh, it does.
So it's like, I don't see what the problem was with Fast Pass. I don't think there was a problem with it. I think they just wanted to make money. Individual lightning lane, though, that one's really hard for me. I can't. It makes me, that one really, really makes me mad. But it's like, we got a lot done. And, also, well, that's a tip. Never mind. I have to stop myself.
Gotta save these tips.
But yeah, it was good. It was, busier than we thought it was going to be for the end of August, given that most public schools had started. And so we thought it would be a little slower, but it wasn't horrible, but it was still pretty busy.
We've been when it's worse.
Yes. Yeah.
We've been when it's worse.
And really, there's just no time anymore that it's slow. It's really
busy
not.
all the time.
It used to there used to be times where it was slow, and it's just not anymore. It stinks, but it's true. So yeah. It was fun. I was exhausted. I think this is one of the trips. I just felt extra exhausted.
Yeah. Well, I was looking back at my steps.
Oh, there was one day where I did 21,000 steps.
So Monday, our first Disneyland day, I did 19,944 steps.
That was the day I had 21 something thousand steps.
So, when we went to Disney World, I injured my foot because we walked too much.
That was 17.
It was 18,000 steps. So we walked more at Disneyland.
Wow.
Than we did at Animal Kingdom.
And we did go back to the hotel.
We did.
So that's always extra steps because you're walking farther to the hotel and then we came back and Wow.
But yeah, we walked a lot more that day. I think part of it, we were
going back and forth.
Between the lands because of Genie Plus.
So between that and the heat and me waking up so stinking early for early entry, poor boys, man. The second So the day we left and then the day before, it was kind of hard to get them up. And our boys are early risers. And I had to wake them up and I felt bad, but they wanted to do early entry. And I totally agree. That's what's hard because it's like
worth it.
Early entry is great because if you go to those areas that you can do that no one else is in, it's dead.
Even if you...
This tip.
I know.
Don't say
I
it.
know.
Don't say it. I know. I want to talk about it too because I was excited about this fact.
We'll leave it here and then we got to end this thing because we're getting almost an hour and a half into this thing.
Oh my gosh.
So
Sorry. Get a snack, get some popcorn.
If you have to pick, am I going to go early or if I'm going to stay late?
Don't do it. I don't know though. I still. I don't know. I say do both and take a break in the middle. Go take a nap.
Yeah, you could do that.
That's
too.
what I say.
But anyways, so that was our trip.
Yeah.
It was fun. I'm still really tired.
I'm still exhausted. We've been home for 2 days.
Home for 2 days and still super tired.
And I'm exhausted. Yeah.
But
what was your my question? It's not a hypothetical. I'm just going to ask. What was your favorite part of the trip?
My favorite part. It was waiting in line with fries. No, it wasn't. That was my least favorite part. Guardians with Boston was
my
pretty
favorite.
awesome.
That was my favorite. That was my favorite
I was
part.
having a lot of fun with him going on rides.
Whatever.
Well, you went on rides with him too.
I know, but he never wants to go on rides with
I know.
me, and I don't know why. It hurts my feelings.
Even though he picks me, but when he does go with you, it's fun though.
It is. It's absolutely. It's very fun because he just gets so excited and he just loves thrills.
Yeah. I just love when after you went on Guardians and I saw him coming and his face, he was just like, it's so like wide eyed and like so like happy and ecstatic.
Shocked and it was so great. It was so great.
Because that was my turn and the other boys didn't want to go, so I took him again. He's like, Dad, there's a part that you cannot miss.
Like you would somehow. How would you miss
There's a part where you cannot miss. And when they open up the window and you see everybody and they're all like ants. He's talking about when you go on Guardians and at the very top, they open up the doors and you see outside and see the entire park.
His face at that point was like, whoa, you can see because it's light. So in the video, you can see him. He's like, whoa, like, yeah. He's 6, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was my favorite part. A lot of times it's like Georgia stuff with girly stuff I get to do because I've never been able to do that stuff before. But it was, which her Rapunzel dress was incredible. Oh, yeah, she looked amazing.
She was pretty cute.
She looked amazing all the days. But Jack, it was good. Like, but Boston on Guardians was.
Yeah. I remember when we would go on Tower of Terror or Guardians and I would see these little kids in line.
Oh,
and I'm like,
know.
It's like, this kid's too small to go on this ride.
Oh, I know.
It's like, he was way too small. He's way too young. He. And now Boston is that kid.
Yeah.
And he loves it.
He loved it. It was fantastic. Yeah. And,
All right, we need to end it here. I'm sure half of our listeners have not even made it this far.
We should have a disclaimer at the beginning saying, break this up.
Yeah. So, but thanks for listening.
Yes.
We will have all of our tips that we've figured out, or new tips that we figured out in this new era of Disneyland. And hopefully that will make your trip go a little bit smoother next time.
Also, we will be, we'll be sharing more pictures and videos on Instagram. So follow us there. What is it?
Dreaming.of.disney.podcast
on Instagram, because we'll share that, and I'm sure we'll share parts of the Guardians video. So, yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for listening. We'll talk to you later.
Bye.